Spring is finally here. And that means for a lot of us here in the Pacific Northwest, it's the official start of the hiking season. And I'm excited to bring you some safety tips that are going to help guarantee your spring hiking season isn't only enjoyable, but it's also safe. Spring here in the Pacific Northwest often means mud. And there's no point in trying to avoid it. You just need to embrace it and walk through the mud. You don't want to risk damaging the area around a trail just because you're trying to avoid a muddy spot. It's better to walk right through that mud. Just make sure you have brought an extra pair of socks and shoes for an enjoyable post-hike adventure. Spring weather can also be incredibly unpredictable. I know we've talked about this in the past, but in the springtime, layering is essential because what you start out with in the morning is probably not going to be what you end up with in the afternoon. Make sure you have a base layer that is a moisture wicking, preferably a synthetic or a wool material. You want to avoid cotton. Obviously, I love my cotton shirts. I do tend to wear them, but I do also have a moisture wicking synthetic layer on underneath that helps pull the heat and moisture away from my body so that I don't get cold with sweat. You're also going to want to make sure you have a nice mid layer to protect you from the wind, and then always pack a raincoat, even if it's a beautiful sunny day like this, because you never know when that weather is going to change and the rain is going to come in. Layering is a great way to plan and prepare for anything that could possibly happen out there on an afternoon adventure. Springtime is also a particularly dangerous time of year for river crossings. Not only is there the spring rain, but you also start to have the snow melt coming down from the mountaintops, which can take what's an ordinarily calm river and turn it into a rapid flowing, if not flooding area. Never cross a river unless you know exactly how deep it is and you're confident that the current is something you can handle. Best practice is don't cross unless it's below your knee height and you've been able to test the surface beforehand. Trekking poles are a great way of doing that. They not only add some stability, but they allow you to test the river bed before you walk onto it. If you're like me and you always forget to bring your trekking poles, then a stick is a great option too. For this river crossing, I'm just not going to do it. It looks like it's probably about 4 feet deep once you get closer to the middle, and I'm not in the mood to get that cold or that wet today. So I'm going to head a little farther down to where I saw a tree that had fallen across the river, and we'll see if we can sneak around that one. But be very aware of flash floods and flooded rivers during the spring snowmelt. So the only drawback to that river crossing is I get to actually do it 3 times. Once for you guys, once to come back and get my camera, and now I've got to cross it again. I'll see you on the other side. Spring is also the time for new growth. This is when the plants and the wildflowers start to come up out of the ground for the first time this year, which means it's very delicate. You want to make sure you stay on the trail whenever possible to avoid harming any of the new growth for the season. You never know when you could be stepping on tomorrow's wildflower. Just ensure to watch your step and enjoy the beauty around you responsibly. Speaking of responsibly, a little higher up than I had originally thought this was going to go. Okay, so this is not going to be too graceful, and you're allowed to laugh if you want to. Okay. So, spring isn't just the time of year when wildflowers and plants start to grow, but it's also the time of year when our furry four-legged friends start to wake up from hibernation. And yes, I'm referring to bears. So here in the Pacific Northwest, we have a lot of black bears. For the most part, black bears are going to keep their distance away from you. They don't want to be anywhere near you, just like you don't want to be around them. But if you should happen to run into a black bear on the trail, stop what you're doing, do not turn your back, and absolutely do not run away from them. You're going to want to speak in a normal, calm voice, just so that they know you're there, and then slowly back away from them. 99% of the time, a black bear is going to see you and he's going to run off. It's that 1% you want to be prepared for. Now, there are some controversy around whether bear spray is really appropriate or even necessary. I'll let you make that decision. I know that if I'm hiking in an area that's known to have bear activity, then I definitely keep bear spray with me. I will point out though, that if you're going to carry bear spray, you should probably know how to use it also. So it wouldn't necessarily hurt to practice with a can before you head out on your next adventure. Springtime in the Pacific Northwest is one of the most beautiful times of year. The forest comes alive with activity, new growth, and animals. It is a magical time, and I hope you take the opportunity to get out there yourselves and find some adventures of your own. If you're looking for more trail tips and tricks, I'll have a link for some videos right here. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, maybe today's the day. And until next time, folks, I hope to see you out there on the trail soon. Let's go for a walk.